Okay, so in this video, we're going to look through pictures and we're going to discuss how to find the best home online and where to find the flaws before you go and look at a property. Because oftentimes you're looking through and then you get to a property and it looks terrible. And you're like, why did I go here? I thought it was going to be so much better. So I'm going to talk to you and show you a few things that, as a realtor, what I look for online when I'm looking at a house. So I'm going to look through pictures and just show you those finer things that I often see when I'm scouting for properties for my clients, so that we know before we go whether or not it's going to be the right property for them, and I can tell them. So something to look at is always on the front photo. You can usually see things like on this one, we see the corner hasn't been maintained. It's all peeling. The paint's peeling off. Now, if the paint's peeling off here, that first of all tells us that this home has wood trim. Now, it probably doesn't have wood trim here. This is probably aluminum clad, and this is probably aluminum clad, and this looks like vinyl siding. So it's got a wood trim there, and it's got some wood here on the steps, which look a little bit worn. Looking at the exterior of this home, we can see that it's an older house, but the situation with this is that we notice that the garage is on the side of it. Now, most homes don't have the amount of frontage space that would allow the garage to be back here. And so when I first see this, I suspect that it's going to be a corner lot, and that what they've done is, often builders back at that time, what they did was they put the houses on the lot sideways, and although it was interesting, it wasn't very good. The reason why is because it didn't allow any backyard. And looking through the photos, you can see what I'm talking about. So it sits on the corner here. And of course, this is the front and then the back, and then there's no backyard. And there's no access inside the house, usually from either side. So that means that, you having a barbecue off your back deck from the kitchen is not going to work out because it doesn't have that kind of scenario. Usually these homes, they sit on the market a little bit longer because people don't like that. These are usually in older neighborhoods where they did that. You'll see the house next to it has a nice frontage and then it has a backyard. And so that works out a little bit better usually for traditional layouts. And so here's how to identify a small backyard. You tend to want to look, and these distances between fences are usually about every 8 feet, or even 6 feet. So you can pretty much guess sometimes how big the backyard is. People often go to homes and find out the backyard's too small. So if I go to the next photo back here, you'll see that if you notice there's a curve here, and then you look for the curve here and look, wow, it's really short. Now they can do lots of, trick photography to get you to think that it's a big backyard, but this is really quite small. And then, we got from this side, we had to count on the back. And so this, because they aimed the camera at the ground and they didn't even get the top of the roof of the house in, that they had to stand very close to the house. So where they took the picture from, like there might be 15 feet, maybe 10 feet from where they took the picture. So it tells you a lot about the backyard size, because I often go to homes and find out that, hey, the backyard is too small. We didn't realize that from the photo. I always look at the roof. Right here you can see that these shingles look like they're kind of curling up. You can see there. So it's going to need a roof. Now, what that tells me is, what else does it need? Because it's probably going to need a lot of work. Now, this is the same house, and you can see from this one here, you look at the window, and it looks brightly painted. It looks it's okay. But when you look at the window trims, you can see how skinny the window frames are. So these are double. These aren't. They're typical aluminum slider that was put in about the 70s. And these are very drafty and very cold. So they never replaced the windows, and that's next. Also, you notice from the photo that these kind of exterior hinges is not something we use now. That we haven't used exterior hinges for probably, I'm going to say, 40 years. So these cabinets came from the 70s, maybe even the 60s. So that's something to notice about pictures when you're looking. So it's got an original kitchen. So as you can see from the grout lines on the bottom, the tile job wasn't done very well either. So you can see here that this one is probably, when you get there, it's not going to look as nice as it does in the photos. And they got some nice decorating, and they put things nicely on the counters, but you can know from what I'm telling you that this corner here looks dirty. So this is going to be pretty dirty, and the house probably needs a kitchen and needs a good renovation. Here's the bathroom in the same house, and look at the cabinets here. Now these have an exterior hinge, but this is an oak cabinet. We weren't really doing oak cabinets until probably about the late 80s, early 90s. So that means that the vanity was redone. And this light fixture here is probably the same time period, maybe late 80s, early 90s. So it tells you that the bathroom, maybe although it's been painted, really nothing's been done here for a very long time. In the basement, they put up this blind here because they didn't want you to see what was behind it. And I wonder what's behind it. Going into the basement, you can see that these tiles are new and these tiles are different. They couldn't get the same tile for the basement ceiling, which means that they probably had a water leak at some point. This home has likely the original kitchen. You can see that by the country style cabinets on top, and you can see that they probably replaced the floor because that floor wouldn't be original to that date of this cabinet. So you could tell that because they would have put lino in at that time. One thing to notice here is look at the width of this bar on the window and look at the cam locks on it. That tells you there that that window is new. So that might have new windows. Now the soffits underneath are aluminum. We look at that. That might be that the soffits may have been replaced. And through the same house, we're seeing that they've got the wide windows on here. So that looks like an all vinyl window. So they're going to be low maintenance. Oftentimes people ask me how high the ceilings are in the house, and all you need to do is look at the door frames. If you can see this here, it's probably 8 feet, and in this particular kitchen, maybe even a bit lower. Door frames are generally 7 feet, and if you see that space there, you'll know from looking at the pictures that that's not 2 feet. That is 1 foot, which means it's most likely it is a 8-foot ceiling. These homes that had the kitchen, that have the garage next to them, and we've got a full 50-foot lot, and we have the living room in the front as this one. Most people are disappointed with this layout because there's no way to get to the backyard. The kitchen will be to the right, and it doesn't show that in the layout when you're actually looking at it from the pictures, and you assume that, hey, I'll have a nice patio in the back. But in this particular home style, they put, there's the kitchen, right, which you could maybe remove that wall, but that is going to lead us to believe that the bedrooms are at the back of the home, and there's very little access to the backyard. And quite oftentimes, it even means that it's a narrow backyard or narrow lot, which means that the house is built deeper than wide, in which case, then you've got a situation where you don't have much backyard left. And as you can see here, I'm correct. This is a very, very narrow, shallow backyard. It has a laneway in the back, and the only place to have a garage is in the front. It has a single garage, and it will probably never have a double garage. There's just no way to have one because the city will not permit you to build a garage, and there's not enough length here for that. You can see here from this that it's just a very small backyard. It's only going to have and there's a bit of a patio, but this door, which would probably confuse a lot of people, this is the garage door. This is not the house door. There's 2 bedrooms at the back. This run is a 4-level split, and it's a front to back split. Most people don't really know when it says a 4-level split, they don't understand what the difference between front to back. Now, a front to back split, the problem with these layouts for a lot of people is that, again, just like the other house we looked at, the living room's in the front, the kitchen is on the side, and there's really no access to the backyard. So you get your steps up here, you got bedrooms to the back, and kitchen is to the left over here, and then you end up with the situation where you have really no patio to enjoy the backyard. The only way to get to the backyard in these types of listings is to walk out the side door. See, there's the side kitchen, it's on the other side, and then go to the backyard. So quite oftentimes with these particular styles of homes, they don't leave much in the backyard. And here's your patio door, and it looks like it's coming out. It does come out the back on this one, but it comes out so the house is built it's offset to the back, and so there's a little patio. So they did make it possible here, but most of these they have no access to the backyard. And as you can see here, I'm mostly correct here on this one. Very short, small backyard left over, and there is really little to no access to it. And so that means that's why it's not really well maintained, and nobody's spending any time back there. What is nice about this whole scenario is that this walkout door is from the walkout 3rd level. Here's another back to front split, and you can see it has a walkout door from the third level, but there's no nice place to barbecue from the kitchen and enjoy the backyard. You got to walk around the side of the house, as you can see from here. This home backs onto a busy roadway. How do I know that? Well, because here's the owner's fence between the two properties. Here's the back fence, which is stuccoed and nicely capped. You'll see when you look at these, oftentimes that's the case because the builder built this. Why did they build it? Because there's no homes behind. Is there a park behind? No, there's no park behind. That is Stony Trail. So it's going to be loud and it's going to be noisy. So when you see that difference in the fences, you'll know from the pictures that to check to see where the location is. Okay, so a little bit of investigating. You see on this particular picture that this home has got a sticker on the toilet. That means that water has been turned off. If the water's been turned off, then you know that it's possible. Well, you know that there's a management company there. They turned the water off so that nothing could happen to the property because they're responsible for it. Now, that's either a foreclosure. That's probably a foreclosure. Most likely it is a foreclosure. If that's the case, you'll know a couple more things about foreclosures. You know that the appliances that they're sitting here, it will not be likely included in the purchase of a foreclosure, meaning that they may be there when you get the house on the day that's there, but they can't, the purchase, they can't attest to the ownership of those appliances. Anybody's guess on what's behind the walls and all the rest of it on a property like this. Not saying not to buy them, just that you should know that what the liabilities are of or the consequences of buying these types of homes. So that's just one thing that to notice, that you know the ownership is the bank, or it is Court of Queen's Bench, or we don't know what's going on with the property, but that's something that needs to be investigated. Slap together renovations to flip a property. Okay, here we go. Look at this. So we got nice new cabinet doors, but we got an end gable that doesn't match, and we got a toe kick that doesn't match. And look at the amount of beating on that toe kick. Looks like it's been kicked. The reason why they call it toe kick is because it's the wearing part of the kitchen. People run, and look, there's evidence of even water damage there. So they threw some flooring in, and they got a seam here, which I don't know why you would have a seam in the middle of the floor. You shouldn't have. And so it looks fairly good in some of the photos. Look at that seam there. Why is there a dark seam there? That's not quite right. And then look at the sides of the cabinets. They're a lighter color. So and we've got the old subway tile. So they threw some counters. They didn't do the fronts or the sides, and they put on some darker doors. That's just strange. They didn't want to spend enough money. So if they didn't want to spend enough money, it might be a good deal. I'm not saying that to look at a house like this, but just know that when you go there, that you might not be looking at something as good as what appears in the photos. Ceiling fans, ventilation. Look at this ventilation, how dirty it is in this particular property, and look at how dark it is around it, which means that it's a heat vent probably, or it's a return air vent, and it tells me a lot about the rest of the property. If that wasn't addressed, then what else is there? You can tell a lot about a house by looking at utility room pictures. Okay, here's a great example. Look at this wiring. It looks like it's all over the place, which means that maybe a handyman, maybe the homeowner did a lot of wiring, maybe not done by an electrician. Look at the vent from the furnace. It's kind of haphazardly there, not really tucked away nicely. This used to have an exterior gas meter, and it was on the inside. It was converted to go to the outside. There's concrete patching there, so they moved it to the outside. They didn't have the forethought on this, that using this as a laundry, but they didn't put the laundry equipment together side by side, so they didn't have the budget to move the plumbing and the drains and everything to where it should be to have it set up well. This is an older home, and so they didn't, in all of that time, in 40, 50 years, they never once decided that they should put things closer together. Nice kitchen, exterior hinges. We know that's older. Kitchen floor. This is not tile. This is linoleum. It's too flat. It doesn't have any ridges, and the shadows will tell you that it's not tile. New windows. You have to ask yourself. It looks nicely renovated. They staged it, but if they staged it and they just put countertops and they put in maybe the appliances, and what else didn't they do? They did very cheap fix-ups. It looks good online, and it might not look as good in person. I'm not saying don't buy something like this. What I'm saying is that Just know what you're expecting when you get there. If you've got exterior hinges, we know that these are original cabinets, so when you look inside, you can expect to see that they may be worn or just painted. This is an old bathroom vanity. How do I know? Because we don't do these one-piece onyx pieces or imitation granite anymore. So this is a one-piece unit. There's no seam where the sink should be. I could go on forever like this. And so if you've got a property that you're interested in and you don't know if you want to make the trip and you want me to check it out online, I'd certainly be happy to do that. If you're looking for a home search, you can always search on my website, search calgaryhomesforsale.com. And I would invite you to do that. I can also show you a few things that we can see as agents that you can't see when you call or when you text me. So what we can see is on the MLS system is a few things like we can see location, like, okay, we can see the lot size, the depth, we can see the shape of the lot. We can see this one here is backing onto Stony Trail. We can see that. These are things that you can't see on public MLS because we're linked to things. We can see the tax records, and we can see even the history of when it was sold, when the last time it was sold, when it went pending. We can see, even historically, we can see a lot of photos. We can see when it was renovated, what was changed, whether the colors changed and the cabinets changed. We can see that they added onto the property, maybe made it bigger. A lot of these things we can find out from the MLS system, the private system, that we can't display onto the public system. So, and know this: if you're looking at many different websites to find property, we all of us agents, all of us share all MLS listings all the way across the board. There is nowhere to find more listings. I think one of the things that a lot of people are trying to do is think, well, I can't find it on this site, so I'll find it on another site. Well, you won't find it on another site very likely unless it was displayed in a different order or something like that. But they're all there, and it's all about the search tools and knowing how to use them on the site. And if you need help with that on my site, I'd certainly be happy to help you with the search tools there to find closer what you're looking for in your home search. With that said, I invite you to send me any property that you're interested in having a review, and I can show you the flaws online before we go and have a look. If you're ready to search for homes right now, just click on the link in the description below. Or if you would like to know more about home prices in a particular segment, maybe you're interested in apartments or townhomes, or whether or not a finished basement is worth more than an unfinished basement and how much, the difference between the prices of walkout basements. I'm doing all kinds of videos on an ongoing basis. And if you've got a specific need, you can always shoot me an email or send me a message to the website, give me a phone call. I'd be happy to do a video on your particular home. If you're a seller or you're a buyer that wants to know the value of a property, I can certainly analyze it right here and give you a video report online. Thanks so much and have a great day.